This is Chapter 8 from What Was the San Francisco Earthquake? Chapter 8 starts on page 58. Chapter 8, Rich and Poor, April 19th, morning and afternoon. Until Thursday, the city's hilltops had been spared from the fires. Nob Hill was where the city's most powerful families lived. Yet 24 hours after the earthquake, fire reached the area. The homes of the four richest families in San Francisco were consumed by flames. These houses had been as lavish as castles. They were filled with artwork, rare books, and furniture, but nothing could withstand the power of the fires. The plain truth was that fire destroyed the lives of the rich as well as the poor. The Barbary Coast was the neighborhood where criminals and pleasure seekers gathered at night. It, too, fell to the fire, which swept through streets nicknamed Dead Man's Alley and Murder Point. By Thursday afternoon, much of the eastern half of the city lay in ruins. General Funston advised Mayor Schmitz to make a stand against the fire at Van Ness Avenue. That was the city's main north-south street. Many of the city's finest homes were located there. But Funston said that destroying them to make a firewall was the only way to save the western part of the city. Finally, the mayor agreed. Funston's men drove people from houses on the east side of Van Ness. Then the soldiers began to destroy the homes. This time, they used not only dynamite, but also cannons. All over the city, people were jolted by the noise. It sounded like a war. Soldiers even set fires on purpose. James Stetson, who lived west of Van Ness, watched through a telescope. He saw soldiers entering houses with containers of kerosene. They climbed to an upper floor, opened the windows, and set fire to the curtains. The plan was to get rid of everything in the Earth's path. Stetson doubted the plan would work. A soldier forced Stetson out of his own home at the point of a bayonet. The soldier insisted the house was in danger from the fire. Stetson was sure he was wrong. When no one was watching, he sneaked back in. But the fire drew nearer, and Stetson began to worry. After he saw a small fire on the roof next door, he offered $10 to anyone who would help put it out. Someone did. Only one house around Stetson's burned. His house remained safe too. E.A. Dakin also succeeded in saving his home. A Civil War veteran, Dakin had a flag collection. When the fire got too close, he raised the largest flag over his house. He dipped it 3 times, a sign of farewell. A group of soldiers saw the flag dip. They stopped at Dakin's house and worked to save it. Part of the house, 4 stories up, began to smolder. 5 soldiers climbed to the roof. They held one man by his ankle and lowered him so he could reach the blaze. He used a seltzer bottle to put out the fire. General Funston's drastic action did stop the fire from crossing Van Ness. At least for now, most of the western area of the city was safe. But the avenue was 4 miles long, and the fire could not be stopped everywhere. Many fires were still burning in other parts of San Francisco. The job was far from over. The Big Four of San Francisco. The Big Four was a popular nickname for the 4 men who built the western part of the railroad that ran across the United States. In 1862, Congress had passed a bill giving land and money to 2 companies to build the railroad. One would start in Omaha, Nebraska, and work west. The other would start in Sacramento, California, and head east. The Central Pacific Railroad Company was formed by 4 San Francisco shopkeepers: Leland Stanford, Collis Huntington, Mark Hopkins, and Charles Crocker. They wanted their railroad builders to work faster than the other companies because each railroad was paid for every mile of track it laid. So the project became something like a race. Crocker suggested hiring Chinese immigrants. Many had come to California during the gold rush of 1849. The Chinese laborers worked so hard that the railroad company started bringing more people from China itself. They were paid $1 a day. The Big Four became famously wealthy. They used some of their money for charities. Together, they established a state library. Leland Stanford and his wife Jane started Stanford University in honor of their only child, a son who had died young.